Hello, my name is Jason. Rigging is the most important part of the animated character. Something that will help you to pose the character in an easy way and to animate the character. In this episode of VFX of Call Night Moon, we're gonna do just this. This episode is fully just about rigging. And if you don't know how to create the character, you can watch the previous episode that were about modeling, retopology and materials of the alien. To watch those, you can click but their previews, go by the links in the description or find them by yourselves on my channel. Okay, let's open up the Blender and load there our file. I can go now create the rig by myself, model it piece by piece, but I can also save some of my time and use a Rigify add-on, because the alien has the same organs as the human. For this, I need first to turn on the Rigify add-on in the settings. Then add the rig by pressing Shift A and selecting Human Meta Rig under the armature. Then you would need to place the rig in the needed place and adjust the size. Then I go to Edit mode and make sure the X-Mirror option is on. Now I'm gonna manually adjust every bone to its position. Now I'm gonna connect the model to the armature. For this I need to select both and make sure that the last that I selected was the armature. Then I press Ctrl P and selecting armature deform with automatic weights. To play with the pose of the character, you need to go to the pose mode in the armature. Fastest way to do this is by pressing Ctrl Tab. The Auto IK option is very good tool if you want to move attached bones. It's gonna deform the shape of the armature to make your motion possible. Now let's connect the shoes to the armature. About clothes I'm gonna talk in the next episode. When the armature is in the pose mode, you can select the model and press Ctrl Tab 2 to enter the weight paid mode. Here you can adjust the areas of the deformation belongs to every bone. Red means full deformation, blue ignore deformation, and the colors in between will be the health levels of the deformation. I am checking that every bone has the deformation areas as I want them to be. Okay, let's start really fixing the rig. This deformation is very powerful, but it's not gonna fully help. Sometimes you need even more flexibility that you don't have using just this option. For such a powerful rigging, I'm gonna use the best tool ever added to Blender. It's called drivers. What drivers does is that it taking a value from one place and after some calculation put it into the other place. For example, you can rotate a cube by moving a sphere or something like this. It's like a programming. Actually, it has a lot of basic programming in it. I'm not gonna enter into too much details. I'm gonna show you how to use this to help the armature to deform the mesh better. First we're gonna do is to pose the deformation that seems problematic. Then I'm gonna add a new shape key in the mesh options, call it with some name I can remember that this has a connection to fixing of this particular deformation. And while the shape key is selected, I'm gonna go to edit mode and manually adjust the vertices to get a better deformation shape. Then I'm gonna add driver to the value of the shape key by clicking on it with the right mouse button. And soon as I did it, I go to a graph editor window to the drivers mode. On the left side we're selecting the drivers, on the right side we're gonna edit them. There we have two main parts. The top one is the expression that's gonna be calculated into the value that will be later used in the shape key. The bottom part is the variables, which means values from any place in Blender. You can name them as you want and write their names in the expressions on the top to get results. You can also use mathematical stuff like adding, subtracting, multiplying, etc. And of course you can use numbers. You can do all sorts of crazy things like variable 1 plus 1 multiplied by 120 minus variable 2, and it will probably work. I'm gonna select in the variable the armature object and the bone that makes the deformation. Then I'm gonna find the value that deforms this particular deformation. In this case is a rotation. I select the local transformation to make the rotation works, even if the whole rest of the pose is gonna be rotated. Actually, I play with the settings until I see the driver works, experimenting with it as experimenting with all the rest of the Blender. As I was recording this test, I didn't really pay attention to one thing you might do first to make your drivers work. It's a reloaded trusted option on the top of the screen. It will reload a file, so make sure to save it before. It's been made to prevent viruses that can be made with drivers. I saw that the drivers doesn't work, so I decided to experiment a little more with the options until it worked. Now let's come back to our main file and make all necessary fixes to our rig. Sometimes it's not fixes but creative ideas, like adding more detailed deformation in some particular areas. Hands, for example, can push the skin out while being deformed, or stuff like that. I'm not gonna talk about each of them one by one, because if you understand the first, you probably understood how to make all the rest. I'm just gonna say that one of the most important are the eyes, because the eye spheres are a little silly while being parented to the head bone. So everyday rotation need to be fixed by drivers. At least I do it this way. For some reason, the eyes in this alien were just extremely problematic. I needed to add about 8 drivers to fix them. It's insane. But what to do? That's the reality. Then I thought that the rotation of the black eyes will not be seen. So I need some facial deformation to tell the audience that the eyes are moving and in which direction they're moving. For this I added another bone. I call that eye target, and created 4 more shape cases according to the references, to make this eye target feel like it moved the eyes. I'll leave this same reference picture on my Facebook page. Then I just connected the drivers to the transformation values of the eye target bone, and it worked. I'm not a fan of facial rigs, so in this particular rig I created a bunch of shape case for facial animation and left them as they are. I'm gonna manually animate the values of each of them because I have more pleasure doing this by this way. You probably already guessed that I'm not gonna explain about each of them because it's up to you. I think I will upload a full list of the shape casts that I created on my Facebook page if you want to know exactly. You know what? Do it yourself. Make your own list of shape case and rig fixes and send me this on my Facebook or email. Best rig will be chosen for the last episode. So do it and do it good. Send this video to your friends, maybe they want to know how to make a character rig or how to make drivers. Subscribe to my channel, do not lose my next episode about the cloth and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, thanks for watching.